Thanks again for tuning in. I finally found a high quality map that I'd love to share with you guys. I know the Forest Service is extremely busy, and I want to see if I can take a little load off them right now. Even loading this map, their servers must be incredibly busy because it's taking a long time to load, but it does load. And this, when they posted earlier on Facebook, it was good, but this one's much better. And there is a link in the description if you want to check out this map. But do note that it takes a bit to load. Be patient with it. It literally took me like 30 to 45 seconds to load a simple link. So again, they're real busy. They're doing their best. It's fantastic. But I want to, again, see if I can take a little burden off of their shoulders. So I'm going to open up the forest closure and the map, and let's see if we can break this down to get a little bit of clarity to you so you can understand, like me, where we can and cannot be, where we're not going to be in the way or going to be in danger. So without further ado, let's switch over to a screen share and let's break this down. So when you look at this closure order, it's like, oh my God, what's going on? This is way too much detail. W's, 9W32, where's that? Until recently, I'd never heard of a W number, generally found in the wilderness area. Generally, I'm used to seeing N roads, 22 and 11, you know, all these different roads. M roads, mountain highways. Again, so let's break this down. I'm stumbling here. It took me a while to figure this out, and thank you to the gentleman that helped me earlier. Greatly appreciated. Break this down a little bit more because some of this was not so easy to figure out. So anyway, here we go. So if we go from entering or being within the boundary of the August Complex closure area, starting at the Mendocino National Forest boundary at the intersection with Forest Road number M10. Huh? Where's M10? Can help you with that. So if we switch over, I'm going to switch between these two tabs, but it's the same closure order if you go to the Mendocino National Forest website or in the link down below or the description down below, you'll get this. Both tabs I'm switching between, it's the same link. Just makes it faster for me to get back and forth. So if we scroll down here, this is the M10 right here. Now we've got some, because this is really good quality, you can actually read some of this detail. So you got Deafy Glade, Summit Springs, Bear Creek. You can read these in this one, and that's what got me all excited. It's like, okay, finally some clarity. So now we know where the M10 is. I'll scroll down a little bit more so you can kind of see. We've got Indian Valley Reservoir down here. Clear Lake's going to be down in here. This is the southern end of the Mendocino National Forest. Let's Lake, they just reopened this from what, the 2018 fires? Just got reopened, and now look at this boundary. So the M10, that's a boundary, but can you be on the M10? Let's read this a little bit more. So the M10, continuing north, let's see here, where did I leave off? Forest Road number M10, continuing on the north side of Forest Road M10. Okay, the north side of the M10. The M10 runs east-west. East side, or no, the north, it said north side. It runs east-west, north side. So that means this is closed, this is open. The north side of the road, that means that you can be on the M10. You just cannot go north of the M10. So that added some specificity to me that I really needed, because I've been getting a lot of messages and inquiries, which are great. Please reach out to me. I'll do my best, and that's what I'm trying to do here, to try and define what I could find as soon as I get it in my hot little hands. So here we go. M10 north. You're allowed to be on the M10, just not north of it. So just don't get out to go pee on the other side. But you're allowed to be down in here or on the M10 and down in this whole area. It's completely safe and legal. Okay, let's continue along. Again, these two tabs, it's the same link. I'm just making it easy. Continuing on the north side of the Forest Road M10. North side of the road runs east-west. Okay, west to the intersection with Forest Road M3. Okay, M3. So let me reread that because there's a lot of detail. Even I have to read this like 10 times to be able to memorize each little section. Intersection with Forest Road M3, north along the west side. So M3. M is in Mike. M3. It runs north-south. Here's the M3 right here. You can see, I don't know if, hopefully you can see it on the screen there. I zoomed it in the best I could. Let me give a little bit more detail. Look at that. Okay, there we go. So M3 runs north-south. So am I allowed to be on the M3? Let's go back. M3 run north along the west side of Forest Road M3. So the M3 runs north. It's closed on the west side. So if we go back over here, we got north-south, east-west, and then it says along the west side. So along the west side being on this side over in here, that basically encompasses that road. So the M3, it's closed. Don't go on there. But notice it's right here at this, let me scroll up a little bit more. At this County Road 301, right where these two meet, that's where things change. So you can be on the M10 and continue along the 301, but you can't go north on the M3 because it's closed to the west side of the M3. M is in Mike, Mountain Highway. That's what the M stands for. Okay, so scrolling along, here we go. So where did we leave off? Along the M3 to Copper Butte Creek, west to the Eel River, then north along the Eel River with the intersections. So Eel River, that one I had a little trouble with. Copper Butte, they mentioned this. So here's the 9W32 right in here. Scroll up a little bit. 9W32. Bloody Rock it looks like. Let's go over the 9W32. So, oh, I didn't cover all of that. West along the Eel River. So on the east side of the Eel River, closed. North along the Eel River to the intersection with trail number 9W32. Then west along trail number 30. So they're talking about the direction the closure's going. West along the trail. So it's going to head west. 9W32 to Forest Road M6. Let's see here. Trail number 9, then west along. See, now this one, I don't see where it says north or south. This one's a little convoluted for me. I understand they have to do this specificity and they have to do this legalese, but it really makes it difficult. So I'm so glad to have finally found a map. Let's see here. 9W32 to Forest Road M6. M6, right in here. A lot of you will know this intersection right here. If you go to Pillsbury Hole Mountain, you're going to know this intersection because that's where you enter the game refuge. Right in here, you'll see all these really big signs that say no firearms allowed, no hunting. That's the M6 right here. Let's go back. See here in Forest Road number M6, then south along the east side of Road M6. So this one to me runs east-west, but east side. So what I'm seeing right here is that you cannot be on the M6 starting at the M1 right here. This is closed because it's on the east side right here. You cannot be on the M6. That's part of the closed area. We'll get to this little finger here in just a minute. That's part of another little section that runs, as you can see, down to Lake Pillsbury itself. We're very familiar with that road going on up to Hole Mountain, and it does ultimately lead to Covelo, FH7. So let's go on to the next section here. The M6 is south along the east side, so that would mean the M6 is closed in that area, where it intersects with M1. North along the M1 on the west side of M1. So the M1 runs north-south, but it's closed to the west side. Let's switch over to the map. So here's your M1 going up in here, closed on the west side. That means that the M1 is closed in through here until, okay, we'll get to this portion in just a minute. So M1 is closed on the west side up to M61. That means this section of the M1 is completely closed off to the public. Now, M1, let's see here, M6 and M1, west of the Forest Service M1, to the intersection with Forest Road number M, as in Mike, Mountain Highway 61. Let's go back there. Let's get our location and our bearings. Here is the M61 right in here. So they're saying that there's a change going on right here. They're saying it's closed on the west side to the M61. That's right here. So let's read a little further. M61 and continuing north along the east side of Forest Road M1. Okay, that's some good information going on here. So M61 continuing north, so you're heading north along the east side. So we're on the M1 right here, starting at M61 on the east side. Okay, so things change right here. You can be on this part of the M1 because it says on the east side it is closed. So you go along the M1 and through here. Granted, there's some burn area in through here that burned a few years ago. It's not bad. This is a really good road. I've done this a bunch of times on a day trip. You ride the ridge all the way along until you start to dive back down into the valley in towards FH7. Really killer views. Awesome drive. So this technically you could do, but you couldn't do it as a day trip because it's closed at the bottom half. So getting diverted here. You're allowed to be on the M1 from the M61 up to, let's read that a little further so we're getting as specific as possible. Continuing north along the east side to M1 to the intersection of the forest boundary. Okay, forest boundary. Forest boundary is what they're basically considering. Now, if you check the Mendocino National Forest Facebook page, they talked about this today. And they're talking about this Eel River workstation. The forest boundary is basically right here. So they're saying from here, the Eel River workstation, this is Highway 162, FH7, depending on what portion of the map you're looking at. They're saying from here, south to the M61, you're allowed to be on there. And you're allowed to be west of it, but not east. Does that make sense? And if you have any problems, throw it in the chat. And I am monitoring and doing my best to keep an eye on it here. You keep seeing me look over to the side. That's what I'm looking at. So let's continue along reading here. M61 boundary, find the border. Okay. North on the boundary with the Six Rivers National Forest, continuing along the forest boundary northeast to the boundary within the Shasta Trinity National Forest. That's really far up there. But they show you in here. Scroll up. Let me zoom out. That's too much. Okay, so I was recently over in this area, right in here, looking for that bomber crash. And I actually found some really cool dispersed sites back in there. I found one of probably my best finds yet, which will have a video coming out soon. Stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, and you'll see it when it comes out. But now this is all closed. So they're saying follow the forest boundary up into the Six River National Forest. And from what I understand, the Six Rivers National Forest is digging in. They're doing their best to keep the fire from spreading into their, I guess it's jurisdiction or district. I'm not really sure how they define that. So anyway, along these edges, and in here, they actually show you this, you gotta, I'll zoom in some more, then I can scroll over, 27 and 02. But I don't remember reading about that one. So let's read and see if we can figure out what portion of that here. So M1, there's a forest boundary, north of the boundary, Six Rivers National Forest, and continuing along the forest boundary, northeast of the boundary, northeast to the boundary within the Shasta Trinity National Forest. So northeast side, that would mean that those roads are closed, north of that area. Eastward to the eastern forest boundary and continuing southward along the forest boundary to the intersection of the M10 road. That one's quick and easy to show you. So they're basically saying that you're close. Let me zoom out. I know, stupid sound effects, sorry. So you got your forest boundary right in here. And a lot of this is wilderness area up in here, so there's not a whole lot of roads to really define, road M67 or whatever. That's a hypothetical number. There aren't many of them up in here, so it's hard for them to specify. So they said the forest boundary, which is right in here. You can see this boundary. I'm going to shift over. And then continuing northeast along the forest boundary. And then let me make sure I paraphrase it correctly. Continuing southward along the forest boundary, which is right in through here. Continuing down. Over a little bit more. Forest boundary, back down to the M10. So you can be in this section, you can be in this section of the M10 all the way through. Actually, the whole M10 is open. But basically, the forest boundary, you cannot be in the forest along the eastern edge. So, again, you're allowed to be on the M10. If you read this specificity, it says that it's east or north of the M10. Another one that really threw me for a loop that I didn't figure out, and from what I understand from earlier, they were saying the M1's basically closed the entire stretch all the way up to the forest boundary, which is what they're saying is the Eel River Workstation. But if you read the Forest Service closure map, it says that this area is closed. The M1 to the M61 is closed completely, west side. But from M61 to the forest boundary, Eel River Workstation, on the east side. So you could be on that section of the M1. And then following the forest boundary, and again, this is, I've said this before, this is massive. This is a huge amount of area. So, feel free to read this over. I've said it before, I don't work for the Forest Service. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't work for BLM. I'm just a guy who really tries my best to bring you the best content and the most relevant information at the time. And as soon as I found this today, I don't normally live stream today, but I figured it was really important to get it out to you. So I wanted to share that with you. If you know anybody who has any questions, you can, the Forest Service makes it very easy to find their phone numbers, to contact them and ask them for specificity. But hopefully this will relieve a lot of the questions that are going on and a lot of the confusion, because there's a lot going on. Things are ever changing. I looked earlier and we're at what, 217,000 acres burned. That's a huge amount, and I believe they said that the winds are going to be calm coming up, which is a great thing. Switch back over here. The winds are going to calm down. That's a great thing. I'm really curious though, because I know that the weather down where I'm at like 150 feet above sea level. Up there at 6,000 feet, the weather's completely different. Sometimes it'll be cooler with the mountains, the ridges, the trees. They all create very unique weather patterns. Something really high like Anthony Peak with a lot of lower mountains around it. Sometimes you'll get microclimates. I was up there one time. It was clear everywhere. We were driving along. We were going to go up to Anthony Peak and check it out. Thank you, X Country, for not only joining me, but letting me know that it's all working. My audio's working and everything else. But we started to head up towards Anthony Peak, and next thing we know, it's pouring rain and the fog is so thick it's like driving in San Francisco. Or I guess the pea soup they call it down in what, LA area or something? Microclimates. So I've said it before with the radios, it's really nice to use the radio to be able to tune in to the Mendocino National Forest Weather Service broadcast, which happens twice a day, because you're going to get a local forecast. So I'm dying to know what's up there. What are the winds like? What the temperatures like? I know down in the valley on the east side of the Mendocino National Forest, they're saying triple digits. Over here we've been in like the 80s. We've got a nice onshore breeze, so our humidity's a little higher than usual. The winds are almost nothing. We get a few gusts here and there, but otherwise it's pretty much still. We have almost no smoke. Our fires are coming along great. I'm right next to the LNU complex fire. So what is that? Lima November Uniform Fire? I had to think about that one. It's been a while since I've done the phonetic alphabet. Again, if you have any questions, you should really refer to the Mendocino National Forest, because they are the authorities on this, not me. I'm just doing my best to decipher this information. And if you, again, at first, it was extremely intimidating to read that. But after a while, I kind of got a grasp of things and was able to figure it out. Mostly because I found the high quality map. Before, the map images were just so poor, I couldn't see any specificity. I didn't know what was going on. Almost forgot though. Let's switch back over. We got one more thing to go over. Da, da, da. Let's see here. We're going to go back over here. So, being in the National Forest System, Road M1 from 18 November 61 to M6 as shown on Exhibit A. Exhibit A is what I've been switching back over to. That's this map. So let's zoom in. Excuse me. Apologize for that. Let's scroll down. See this little orange finger right here? That is closed. You cannot be on that. So they're basically saying from Lake Pillsbury up into here, you can't be in here. You cannot be on the M1, but after M61, you can be on that section. It says it right there. So, again, though, it's probably better to just err on the side of caution and avoid the area. What if you get a sudden, what do you call it? Not flare up, but a bunch of gusts of wind and it starts to move the fire? Things could change real quick, and suddenly you could be in the way. If you're on the M1, maybe checking your phone, if fire engines are coming racing up, that could be catastrophe. I know for a fact, and I know personally, that this section of the M1, let's see if I can find about where I'm talking about. So it's not too bad down here in this little valley, but some of these little switchbacks right in here are pretty steep. Pretty tight turns, and the washboard is crazy. The last time I was up there, I did have my little trailer, and coming around a couple of turns, I started a jackknife, and I was going real slow, four-wheel drive with the exhaust brake going, and I wasn't white knuckling it, but there were a few times like, ooh. What I'm encouraging you to do is just stay out of the area unless absolutely necessary. Even though it is technically open, it's probably best to just avoid the area. You don't want to be that guy that's causing problems, getting in the way, causing an accident, taking out a fire engine, or what they call water tenders. We don't want any of that. So you are technically allowed to be in there, but it's probably best to just stay out. Hopefully this gets, Mother Nature brings us a bunch of rain and things calm down and they can start working on forest management to reopen it. I know that's going to take a lot of time because this is a massive area. The fire down in the Letts Lake area, it took them almost 2 years to reopen that area. I understand they're doing it for our own good. I'm not talking down in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to be, get hurt from something that I never thought of. Widowmakers. That's what their job is. They're the professionals. Let's just let them do their job. I've been seeing a lot of nasty comments on Facebook, on the Mendocino National Forest webpage about, you guys are going to take forever to open it up. It's going to be gone for 10 years and blah, blah. So what? This wasn't caused by the National Forest. Don't take it out on them. This was caused by lightning. It's a natural occurrence. Fire is also a natural thing. Without fire, you get a buildup of this under the what do they call that? Ladder fuels that are on the ground, fallen branches, invasive weeds. They get burned off, allowing natural species to come back up. There are some pine cones that they won't open, the resins won't open or allow them to open unless they're exposed to heat. A lot of the trees, they are, I don't want to say designed. Nature intended them to have some natural heat resistance. The bark is thick for a reason. It'll burn, but for the most part, the tree will be okay. Again, fire is part of nature. So a lot of people, how fast can you get it out? Well, fire sometimes maybe, and I'm no expert here, I'm just kind of venting. Let it run its course. Protect people, protect structures and whatnot, but maybe it's best we just let this go because then this fire will work its way through like it normally does. Human intervention? Are we meant to really intervene with what's going on? There, I'm getting philosophical. I should just stop. It's Friday night. Go out and enjoy yourself. I know Eric Tokel, hi. He's out, let's see, where did he say he was? He was just sending me a bunch of pictures. It was really cool. Southeast of Deer Valley Campground up on French Ridge. He's up there right now. Looks like it's a little bit smoky over in there. He's got a view, well, normally would have a view of Clear Lake. He did send me a picture, and you can see a lot of smoke in that area, but it doesn't look too bad where he's at. And I believe he, if I remember correctly, that's down towards the Indian Valley area, so he's well away from these closures. There are closures in the BLM land, so do pay attention to that. You can go onto their website and find those closures. I will put I didn't do it, but I will put a link in the description to the Ukiah office, and you can call them for more specific closure information. So with all that said, I'm going to say thank you for tuning in. I really hope this information was helpful to you. If it was, please consider hitting the like button. If you like information like this and you find it good, hit the subscribe button. It'd be very beneficial. So again, a shout out to my patrons. I really appreciate the support that you give me. You enable me to make it a lot easier for me to bring this content more often to you. So thank you for that. And a fresh update to my map pins is coming out in 2 weeks. If you're not a member of my Patreon community, consider joining. Every place I've been, there's a pin, and it has a description, a link to a video if I have one up, and they're all right there and all searchable. Works with Google Earth, Google Maps, Avenza, Gaia, and I've, according to Garmin and Xcountry, or on Xcountry, hi Xcountry, on Xhunt, it does work. So I have yet to find somebody to download it and let me know, but if you want to know where I go, where I've been, check that out. So without further ado, I'm going to say enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope this all is over with soon so we can start the mop-up proceedings ASAP. So cheers.